assuming we understand what vegetation fire today.
Worked so hard because I would leave it home. It was just the torrential. That is over the roads.
Some guys.
So I show up 5 p.m.
Right now?
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Clackamas Fire Board of Directors meeting. It's October 16, 2023. We're meeting here at Station 5. The district's motto at Clackamas Fire District, we're always here for you. We value our people and the people we serve. Our focus is establishing teams, trust, empowerment, accountability, mindset, and service. If you're attending in person, please sign the sheet next to the door. The regular monthly meeting of Clackamas Fire District's Board of Directors will now come to order at 5 p.m. per ORS 192.610 and 192.690 per ORS 192.650. This meeting is being recorded. The video recording of the meeting will be placed on the Fire District website. So please, before we start the meeting, please stand and face the flag. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So we have two directors here in person, my colleague Chris Haas and myself, two directors via teleconference, Director Joseph and Director Jay Cross. So Chief Brown, I understand there are quite a few changes to the agenda, so
Yeah.
would you like to go over that?
Great, thank you, appreciate it, Jim. So we had it scheduled for after public comment, so after item B, we will be having a citizens life safety presentation just before the school board's presentation, but I do not see them here yet. So we might just be a little fluid with that life-saving presentation. It's
Okay.
two young kids coming from school, so we can just be a little fluid with that one. And then R1A, R1B, R1C, and R1D, we will not be having this meeting for the division reports. We will have R1E. Chief Huffman will be giving an update on EMS and emergency services. And then X1, we will be canceling, no executive session.
Let me back to the order section.
Yes, can you go for the R1s?
Yep. R1A, R1B, R1C, R1D. We will not be presenting anything today.
Okay.
We will be having R1E, but instead of Chief Mulick, it'll be Chief Huffman.
Okay.
And the focus there is gonna be on EMS.
Okay, very good. So approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting, which was on September 18th, and the board work session that was on September 26th. Does any board member have any comments or changes to share?
Yeah, but there was one on the end of the minutes. Under adjournment, it says Vice President Hawes reconvened the regular board of directors meeting at 6:20. And I think it should be adjourned.
Oh, thank you for catching that.
I was checking to see if it said neener in the official record. I'm a little disappointed that it didn't.
I'll talk to Kelly about that.
Okay, so good catch, duly noted. Any other changes or comments? So if there are no further changes, the minutes for the regular board meeting on September 18th, 2023 stand approved with the amendment by Director Haas. And the minutes for the board work session on September 26th, 2023 also stand approved as written. Next item, public comment. We have lots of public in the audience. I'll now call for statements from any citizen regarding district business. Anyone in the audience?
Did have one.
Yeah.
Miss Ballard?
Okay.
Welcome.
I do know it was considered fire district business, but it is Clackamas school district business. The Well, thank you, Clackamas Fire District Board, for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'm Mitzi Bauer. I'm a longtime resident of North Clackamas School District, and I'm here to speak about a very important North Clackamas Teachers Levy, Measure 3-599 on the November 7th ballot. I've been here as a longtime volunteer as the school board member for 7 years, but today I'm wearing the hat of the community in support of North Clackamas School District 12. But I'd like to thank you for the work you do, the essential services that you provide, and firefighters that they do without question to keep us safe and put their lives on the line. We all tend to take these services that you give for granted, but I don't. Thank you so much. I also want to thank the professional firefighters of Clackamas County IAFF Local 1159 for their endorsement in the voters pamphlet of the North Clackamas Teachers Levy. They joined many others, retired community, parents, teachers, elected leaders, clergy, business, and others. We had 11 statements and nothing officially in opposition. But that doesn't mean we still need to get out and make sure everyone knows about it. My family's lived here. We raised our kids, and I'm grateful for the great education and wonderful opportunities this community provides. Education was central to my life and our children. We're products of public school. Teachers saw qualities in them that we as parents didn't always see. And by the time they're juniors or seniors, they don't always listen to you the same way, but they can connect with an adult. And those teachers work magic with our kids. They were very different. One was very serious and had to relax, and I'd say, go to bed, or he's okay. The other one, oh, I'll do it later. But the teachers asked him to step up and be a leader and be more mature. So now I'm so happy they're giving back to their community. One is in education field and one's in healthcare. And as I said, they're not living in our basement. So that's a success. So, can you remember that special teacher that connected with you, are your kids? We take them for granted, but we can't. So we need them. And especially now, as we're facing these difficult learning environments during COVID and after COVID, we don't want to increase class sizes now. Our students need our individual attention more than ever. There's a teacher shortage. It's difficult enough filling our vacancies and retaining teachers more, and we don't want to be laying them off. A great education makes a huge difference in the ability of the student to succeed in the future, and it's an investment in our community. I've talked to many parents that moved here because of the quality of our schools, but increasing class sizes will not be quality. Communities that have a local option have maintained or increased their property value. To me, this is the most important investment we have. Our future, our students are our future. Someone paid for my education and my kids, and now we need to pay it on. We have a path to success, but part of that is getting out and telling everyone about the levy, how important it is. We worked so hard in 2018 to get it passed, and now it's a no tax increase. It supports 180 teachers, and we can't lose those teachers. Personal conversations are the most important, so please talk to everyone. November 7th is coming up quickly. Approximately 70% of our voters don't have kids in school. They aren't connected. And I didn't have that for so long. We have granddaughters starting now in North Clackamas, but I knew that investment was so important. I have some flyers here. We have a website, renewedteacherslevy.org, and a Facebook. Check those out and hope to see you out there. One quick quote: a teacher affects eternity. They can never tell where their influence stops. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. For Henry Adams. Please join me and others in voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll have to say those who are online, use the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in, you can select *9 to indicate a raised hand and *6 to unmute and mute. Each person will have up to 3 minutes to share their question or comment. So Shelby, anyone online? No comments? And anyone else in the audience have any comments during the public comment section? Okay, I believe we also have a presentation from the school district too.
We do.
And we also, it looks like, have a life safety award with PIO Hamilton. So with Which chief would you like to go first?
Let's, if the school district's okay, if we can, thank you very much.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and turn the time over to
Yeah,
Isaac.
so
if
we'll
that's
turn it
okay.
over to PIO Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We're here tonight to, first of all, recognize and then give a presentation about an event we had on Thursday morning, October 12th, at roughly 8 a.m. We had a series of car accidents that morning. One of them in particular you might have heard of was over near the intersection of Jennifer and Evelyn in the industrial area of Clackamas. It wasn't until after we had wrapped up on that scene that I received a call from Battalion Chief Shireman, letting me know that the car involved in that accident had also been involved in a previous incident just minutes prior, up off of like Old 82nd and Jennifer. So that initial event, what happened was there were a bunch of students out waiting for their school bus in the morning. And a couple of those students who are here with us, Nephi and Moroni, they're over there, they heard the car, which was coming really fast, hop the curb, and it almost hit them. So as I know it, and I can be corrected later, Moroni's feet were hit and run over, and the car backed up and took another go at him. Nephi, the older brother, had it quick-witted, reached out and grabbed his brother and pulled him out of the way of that car. So we want to first recognize, Moroni, we are so glad you're here with us today, because Thursday could have been a different story, don't you think? And for the second part of the presentation, I want to invite Chief Brown up.
Awesome, thank you. Hey, Nephi and Moroni, let's have you guys come up here, please. Let's have you just stand right up in front right here would be awesome. Okay, right there. Perfect. There's a quote that I want to read to you really quickly, okay? A hero, okay, a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. So much of what we do, Nephi, in the fire service is we're here for others. And our slogan, our mantra is here for you. And on Thursday, you were here for your brother. And I happen to know both of you, right? But I could not be prouder of you, Nephi, for having the awareness to be able to save your brother's life. Because you saved your brother's life. And Moroni, I know, looks up to you. I see how he looks at you, and I know he looks up to you. And you just did something very heroic that a lot of people in a stressful situation would have gotten scared. But you didn't get scared. You acted. And you grabbed your brother and you made sure he was safe. And that is so heroic. And I just hope you know that I look up to you and what you did. And Moroni, I am so grateful that you're okay and that you had a big brother watching you. And so always remember that your big brother always has your back and he's always watching out for you, okay?
Okay.
So with that, I want to give you a couple things here, okay? First and foremost is this certificate. It's a Citizen Life Saving Award, okay? And it says the fire district recognizes Nephi for your life-saving actions of your brother on October 12th, 2023. Thanks to your heroic and quick actions, you pulled back your brother from the vehicle's path while waiting for the bus. Your courageous and selfless efforts are commendable. Okay, I want you to have that. And then this is a challenge coin. All right. Now this is a challenge coin that statement that I told you here for you. That's what it reads right there. Okay. Now what we hand these out is I hand these out to firefighters when they have a heroic act as well. And so I'm handing this to you. Okay. There you go, buddy. And Moroni, for being so brave. Okay. I'm giving you one too. Okay. So I am super, super happy that you're okay. All right, come here. All right, and I'm super proud of you, buddy. Okay, I love you guys. Okay.
The board of directors, congratulations to both of you heroes.
I know how important it is for you guys to go home and get some food and get your homework done. Okay? So you don't have to stay for the rest of the board meeting. You guys can go home to get your homework done and have some dinner if you'd like, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Proud of you guys.
Yeah, thank you all for coming in this evening.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Alrighty, thank you, Chief. So we will now invite Cindy Getchen, the Assistant Superintendent of Operations with North Clackamas School District, to present the school district state of the district and some information regarding the proposed teachers levy measure 3-599.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. Cindy's actually not here tonight. I'm Shay James, Superintendent of North Clackamas School District, and I have our other Assistant Superintendent of Education, Yvonne Dibley, with us tonight. So what a gift. We didn't know we were gonna get to see that. And so thank you for what you do and your partnership. Before I start, I don't think I've ever been emotional at one of these meetings, giving these presentations, but I also want to extend my own personal thank you for everything that you do. I haven't not been super public about it, but my house burnt down on September 7th, I think it was. And the response from firefighters was amazing. And that evening, the guidance, the care, that everything that I was shown in a time of tragedy and trauma was beyond amazing. And I think, as Mitzi said, we often don't know, what these services mean to us until you need them. And so when you experience such a big loss, I have not had the opportunity to say thank you for all you guys do. So that's not part of the presentation, but I'm gonna take this time to say my own personal thank you for what you do. And while I no longer have a house, it'll be rebuilt. It's the care and the people around you and the circles that keep us going. So thank you for all you do, and looking at our students for all you do with that, and the partnership that we have with you guys, we could not ask for better. So just wanted to start with that from the bottom of my heart. So we have a presentation tonight, and I think you have a PowerPoint for us. We would just really like to let you know what's going on in the school district and answer any questions that folks may have. And so you can just go ahead and move to the next one. So State of the North Clackamas School District. And you can click through a couple times. We'll tell you when to, I thought we fixed that, but keep going. And I think one, two. Yeah, there you go. Oh, back. One too far there. Oh. I thought we took all of that animated stuff off, but somehow it must have got there. So we usually like to start out by sharing with folks, as I think people think in school districts, we all go home for the summer. And while many of our teachers do go home for the summer and prepare for the next year, there's many of us that are working year round and making sure that our schools are set up for our students to come back and have really good instructional learning. So this is just some of the pictures that you see of us getting prepared for the school year and to kick it off. You can go ahead and move to the next slide. And you can click a couple times. Sorry about that. Normally we have our clicker. One more. There we go. This is our strategic plan that we launched in 2022. It's a 5-year strategic plan. It's something that we did in partnership with our community and our students, our staff, and it really came down to 4 points that are important to us as a school district. I think one that's probably the more obvious one, our student experience and success, so around student achievement and what we are hoping that our students will be able to gain and aspire to long term. Another one of our points is also people and culture. So we want to be, much like you guys, an organization that people want to work at, that people don't want to leave, and that we're caring for the people that are around us. And so we want to make that a priority, and in turn, that gives to our students and keeps us going there. Resources and services, it's really important that we are transparent with our budget, that we're transparent with our resources, our services, and that we're good stewards of the money that our taxpayer, our community is giving us through taxes. And then finally, I would say family and community. And so we've really been working hard to be out in the community, to be good partners. I hope you've seen us at, First Fridays, farmers markets, movies in the park, and often a lot of the other things that are going around, but really trying to reestablish that community presence after coming back from COVID. And then at the bottom, you see our 5 core values in which we're implementing. And this year, we're starting off with relationships, and we'll move into care next with our students. There we go. So a little bit more about us. We have just a little over 17,000 students in our school district, about 26% economically disadvantaged. 43% of our students are of color, and 17% have a disability that we're supporting them through. We have about 23% of English language learners, and that's really students whose first language is something other than English. And so we're often working through that, and we call them Ever English because once you are in our English language learner program, we continue to monitor it through your entire career with us. And we have about 77 languages spoken in our school district, and people are often surprised by that. We're the 6th largest school district in the state, and just to give you some, to know what that means, we have 197 school districts across the state of Oregon. So that tells you where we fall in ranks for some comparison there in terms of that. With 32 buildings, and we've got some pretty fast opportunities for students through charter, magnet, bilingual opportunities, and you have probably seen our Sabin Schellenberg Professional Career Technical Center. We have really struggled to maintain our fire science program there. We really want that program, and it has been due to lack of having a stable teacher for a few years. That has caused students not to join the program in the same way that they used to, because it's hard when you have subs coming in and out of a program that is as important as this. And so we did reach out to the chief and a few others that, how can we reestablish this program in partnership and help be a pipeline, hopefully down the road, for also Clackamas County Fire District. So that's something that's also on our radar. And currently we have a little over 1,700 full-time employees. When we add temporary and other folks to that, it is definitely well over 2,000 employees that we employ.
This shows a graph of just the enrollment trends, and we have a situation where you see a little bit of the pre-pandemic numbers. And while we are not there yet, it is with enthusiasm that we report that at least our trajectory is an upward trajectory, and we see ourselves in a situation that is much different than sometimes our neighboring districts, where they've lost some students and they have not been able to gain the students back. So while we are not at pre-pandemic levels, we are getting closer and approaching those pre-pandemic levels. The next slide will show where we were as far as class sizes for the 22-23 school year. So we're proud of the fact that we, again, are looking at class sizes. We try to definitely focus on keeping lower class sizes at kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and as much as we can at 3rd grade as well, because we all know that there's a predictability there of how many students are actually reading at grade level and what that means for their trajectory as far as the school career. We work with demographers starting in the winter time, and when we approach springtime, I provide the allocations for the school year, so principals will get it. And this year we allocated at 25 at elementary, 28 at middle, and around 32 for high school. So they're creeping up a little bit. These were the actual averages from last year, and we're just right there with this year's class sizes. Again, as I mentioned, it's super important to keep our eye on the prize and ensuring that students are reading to learn. This is a place where we have made significant investments and we've really changed the way that we are focusing on ensuring that every student in our district, every single one of them is reading and reading to learn. You see that the pre-pandemic levels, you have a lot of red, that's 65% of our students at the end of the year were not quite reading or were not proficient in those reading skills. And this is a graph of a screener. So it is an assessment that we use to see if the students are actually achieving their reading skills. And happy to report that red has decreased significantly. And the green and the blue show either at proficiency level or above proficiency level. So while we're still working hard to ensure that 30% that we're not quite there yet last year, that we're able to move forward with them and ensure that they are reading and really getting their foundational skills. There's our first grade data, and I think what I would say is that, again, we are still feeling the effects of the pandemic and the fact that many of these young kiddos were either learning in a hybrid world or trying to learn in their living room. And, you know, reading is a very specific science. Our teachers do a great job of ensuring that they're not just exposing kids to literacy, but that they are very specific about how they're going about teaching those skills and ensuring that they're assessing so they know specifically how they can support kids at the whole group level, a small group level, and individually.
And I would just add here, we know that third grade is a key indicator in terms of reading. If a student can read at third grade, their opportunity and chances of graduating high school goes up substantially. So we are laser focused right now on our kindergarten through third grade and seeing some promising data as you're seeing from the literacy.
We do not just keep data at the first, second, and third grade level. That data is kept, and we do different data cycles throughout the year. But another important indicator is to, one, celebrate our four-year graduation rate. We make sure that we're not only looking at the holistic aspect of a graduation rate, but we're looking at subgroups. So our students of color, our students that are in individualized programs. So as Dr. James said, for example, our Everett English learner, they're actually graduating at a really high rate, which is really exciting because, again, we're putting in a lot of efforts to ensure that there's co-teaching models. So that means they have a specialist and a general ed classroom teacher that work together to support students in the classroom. So we're inching towards, and we keep moving towards raising that overall graduation rate. But prior to graduation, we have to look at the ninth grade data, and we know that if ninth graders do not achieve 6 credits by the end of their ninth grade year, if they have an F, and one of those Fs is in a core class, then again, that really jeopardizes their opportunity to graduate. So again, there's ninth grade teams that are coming together. We're looking at the data, but more importantly, we're looking to see how we support each student. Is it something that's happening at home? Is it an access issue? What barriers do we need to remove? And how can we support them so that they're really getting to those credits their ninth grade year?
So we have had a lot of questions around where does our money go to in staffing. We're about 80% of our budget is people. We're in the business of instructing students. And so just being transparent as part of our resources, wanted to make sure that people know. So almost 60% of our staffing allocation goes to certified teachers. So that's the biggest part. So teachers in the classroom, counselors, school psychologists, anybody that has a certified license to work with students, that fits into that category. The next one, 29%, is our classified. And so that's not only folks that are working in the classroom with teachers, maybe in some of our special education classes, but it's also our operations side. So our bus drivers, our folks that are answering the phone, nutrition services. I think sometimes people don't realize how many people it takes to run a school district, probably somewhat similar to what you experience. And so they say, why isn't that staffing bringing the class sizes down? Well, we've got to get the operations piece rolling as well. And then about 11% with administrators. So that's including administrators in the building and the district office. Anytime we take cuts, the district office is the first ones to take the cuts. We say leaders go first. And so we take our disproportionate cuts, and that's something that we really want to make sure that the community is aware of and knows. We are really proud that we have received the highest level of national award for our financial reporting for the last 5 years. So this is something that we're looking to continue. It's the golden standard, and it's done by outside independent auditors that come in, and we open up our books and say, take a look and tell us what we need to fix. And so this is something that's been near and dear to our hearts, and we are looking forward to continuing with that. In addition, hopefully you've maybe been hearing a little bit more from our communications department. We've won 3 other national awards. Our Curtis Long, our director of communications, started a podcast last year, arguably one of the best. Love it. And some of our videos for students and our capital construction bond summary publication that went out, we also won national awards for.
We are very proud of the family services that we provide at the Wichita Center. In fact, we hope that you can make it to our open house. If you're able to come by, we're going to be there on Wednesday from 4 to 6. But what's very special about the services at Wichita is that in other districts, if a family is in need, they have to go somewhere else in the county to be able to get the services. And this is basically a one-stop shop. So a family can go ahead and they can access the food pantry. And for example, the food pantry, they actually get to walk through and pick the things. They don't just get a box. There's dignity with how a family gets to choose what they need and what they need for their family. There's a huge clothes closet. This clothes closet has taken over the entire gymnasium at Wichita Center. So again, families can go, they can shop, they can just take their time and be able to get whatever it is that they need for, whether it's back to school or the holiday time, different gifts, etc. There's parent education classes, there's referrals and access to a variety of county services, which is very important. And again, we have students that are served through what is called, it's the general term at the state office is McKinney-Vento, but it's those that do not have a house, they're houseless. And so we have a lot of services that once again are coordinated to ensure that they have access to school despite not having an address that they can call home. And they just have all the ability to connect them to all of these services, as well as a way that we can get students to and from school so that they have the least disruption possible, because we know that the personal aspect of their lives can be chaotic. As Dr. James mentioned, we have a variety of district programming that provides access to our students. Importantly, we're a dual language immersion district. We have several schools that teach in both Spanish and in English, and so there's a lot of cognitive benefits to being able to not only converse in a language, but to have the academic language in 2 languages. We have 4 public charter schools within our district, and we have a really great relationship. And the way that relationship is built with our school district is one of collaboration. As she mentioned, we have our 18 career and technical programs. We have a care program in our 21st Century Grant. So our care program provides families with before and after school care, and there's always something that's happening that's academic. So really it's an extension of the day, sometimes before, sometimes after, and sometimes both. And our 21st Century Grant, we were just the recipients of yet again having it for another term. And 21st Century Grant provides opportunities for after school care, especially at middle school, because we know that's a delicate age And it's important for us to have our middle schoolers busy. Again, nonprofit partnerships, our preschools, if preschools really not only our own, but Head Start, other county preschools, also a partnership with the ESD. And lucky to say that part of the trajectory of us keeping our students, we really owe to our virtual online program. The virtual online program was started when we shut down for COVID, and a lot of parents were really nervous and wanted to basically shop other online programs. It became very popular, and we were able to keep our students. It wasn't a specific school, it was just a program within our district. And at one point, like 3 years ago, it served over 900, close to 1,000 students, K through 12. It's very special to us because, you know, many of our students have family members that were medically fragile, there were illnesses, there were multi-generational families that were living together. There's all sorts of reasons as to why students couldn't physically come to a building. And we very much just wanted to honor that opportunity for them to continue their learning and yet give them someplace safe that they could do so, or for whatever reason it was that they needed to do. And now this program, so all our littles have returned back to their elementary schools. We have a lower number at middle school, and then we have our high schoolers that really have like the flexibility. Some of them just really enjoy being able to have a job and yet continuing their education, where maybe a traditional setting was just too much for them, and they've now gotten used to it. So we know that this type of learning has been quickly rising, and it's become more and more common with our young folks. And then last but not least, we have a preschool program. Last year, we were part of a Preschool Promise Grant. This grant allowed us to have 18 students be part of our preschool program. We were able to design, so we're able to follow our own curriculum, our own scope and sequence, provide our own experiences. And this is housed at Oak Grove Elementary. We're one of 3 county districts that the grant allowed to roll out. And while we are not supposed to have the opportunity to apply for the grant, like the consecutive year, they actually contacted us and said, you guys have such a great program. We're open if you're open. And we're like, well, let's just wait and do this one right and make sure we're doing everything correctly. But it is open for 3 and 4-year-olds. So those kiddos, many of them continue on to Oak Grove. It's pretty wild to have 3-year-olds at a school building, but they get music, they get PE, they get all of the different specials. And it's a fabulous, fabulous program. If anyone ever wants to have their bucket filled and wants to go see it, just let me know and I'm happy to give you a tour.
So we have a proposed teachers levy measure. You guys know a little bit something about the levy recently. You can go ahead and move to the next one. And so we just wanted to share what we're proposing with the levy that's coming up. Our levy will expire on June 30th of 2024. We're only allowed to run it for 5 years. Currently, it funds 180 positions, which is equivalent to 1/5 of all of our teachers in the school district. So this would renew for another 5 years. And I think what's really important that we want folks to know is this maintains existing rates. This is not a new levy that we're asking for, or that we're bringing forth. The levy generates approximately $25 million a year over 5 years, and would maintain our teachers and staff at schools and maintain our current class size averages across our school district. Again, as we said, it maintains existing rates, and that's at $1.63 per 1,000 of assessed property value. As you know, assessed value is different what we think that our property is worth often, so that's been a little bit of education trying to get folks up and around that. And what happens if it doesn't pass? Then the funding would not be continued and the tax rate would expire on June 30th of 2024. So oftentimes if my communications director was here, he'd shut it down and do a quiz, but I will not do that to you. He's much better at it. So again, it renews the existing rate 100% of the funds come to North Clackamas. That's a question we get. People often think it goes through Salem or goes through some entity and then they take their cut. It doesn't. 100% comes towards us. If passed, it would retain 180 of our teachers and our class sizes, and would also preserve very important programs that are there for our students. So that was a lot of information, but happy to answer any questions that folks have.
Do any directors have any questions or comments for the North Clackamas staff, or any of our staff have any questions or comments? Thomas?
Thomas unmuted.
Thomas,
What do you mean, Thomas? Why are you looking at me?
you look like you're ready to say something.
Well, okay, all right. Jim, Shay and Ivana, I think that we appreciate you take the time to present to us. And I heard I was not able to listen to your presentation at the Rotary, so good timing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for taking the time to come tonight and give us the information.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to business items. Item B1, request board approval of resolution 23-08 for an interfund loan for fiscal year 2023-24. CFO Mark Whitaker.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. So this is pretty standard. We do annually. I would ask the board to approve resolution 2308. Essentially just, this allows us to take fund balance from funds that have a balance in them and temporarily put them into the general fund, particularly the first part of November, the last couple of weeks of October, when the general fund starts to run out of cash. We can temporarily borrow from the grants fund and the capital reserve fund. And then once the property tax revenues are received in mid-November, we transfer the funds back into those funds, so they're made whole. It's just a temporary transfer that's required by Oregon budget law. So I'm happy to take questions and would ask your approval.
Any board member have any questions? Thomas?
Jim, Mark, I thought when we talked last time, we would not be needing this loan. Is that something, did something change?
No, nothing changed. So in the past, we've done this, and we've also done the tax anticipation notes. And so what we're not doing this year is the tax anticipation notes, but we will probably still need these interfund loans.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's correction. Yeah, I was misunderstanding between the two. Thank you.
So in essence, we're not having to go to the bank, we're just shifting funds from one account to the other.
Yep.
To get by.
Almost like
Yeah, that's always been.
It's an improvement. So we've got a little more cash where we don't need the backstop of the bank this year.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for the board to approve, no, online now. Do I hear a motion for the board to approve resolution 23-08 authorizing interfund loans to the district operating funds to provide temporary cash flow to those funds if necessary?
so moved. Second,
Moved and seconded twice. Shelby, please call the roll.
Jim,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item B3. B2, request board approval of the revised board policy manual. Assistant Chief Brian Stewart.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight we have the second presentation of the Board of Directors Policy Manual. Last month we walked through each of the changes that were proposed for the preamble section 1 and then the financial section or section 2 of the document. We made all the changes that were recommended by the board last month for the preamble in section 1 in terms of the department name or timeline, and then and or receiving the copies of the documents. So we've adopted those or presented those in a clean copy in the packet, as well as there's section 2 which I'll go ahead and leave that with Mark Whitaker to discuss. But in addition to looking and requesting the board approval for the board policy manual, we'll also be requesting that the board, acting as the district's local contract review board, review and approve resolution 2309. Unless there's any questions on the preamble or section 1, I'll ask Mark to take it from here.
Any questions, anyone?
No.
Okay, Mark?
Similar to what Brian said, we incorporated most of the changes that were brought up in the board meeting last time, particularly in reference to the bank accounts. Added a little bit of language just to the investment policy about the length of securities, which doesn't really change the policy, makes it a little more clear. And then as Chief Stewart said, we are requesting as item B3 approval of a resolution. When the board last adopted the purchasing policy in 2013, they adopted it with a resolution to opt out of the model rules. And also as part of that said that they would give public notice before changing the purchasing rules again, and that they would make a resolution to change them. So we're following the past precedent set by the previous board in having a resolution. The major changes to the purchasing policy, again, would be to increase the threshold that requires board approval from $50,000 to $100,000 is probably the biggest change to highlight. So that's my summary as well. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Mark?
Jim, I just have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
You know, I read through these documents a couple times in the last couple of days, and you know what, you guys, this is outstanding. You guys did such good work on this. Really did. I mean, as I was reading through this thing, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you guys put a lot of mind power into these things. I really appreciate that. They're great. Thank you so much.
And one item in the board policy manual that I'll mention is the review of the board committee and liaison list. You all know I contacted you here in the last week and asked if we would all concur and keep our current board committee positions the same as we have now, except the executive committee, which Director Haas and I would move into as the president and vice president. You all concurred, so thank you very much. Everyone's pretty engaged in the programs they're doing now. Everybody's doing a great job, so it seems like it just made sense. So thank you, everyone. And other than that, any other questions? This is the second reading, correct? So we can formally approve it tonight.
Yeah, and we just to clarify, we just make them two separate action items.
That's right.
First one would be approving the revised board policy, and then the second one would be resolution 23-09. So if you just spread it, you know, we presented them as one, but we'll need to have two separate action items.
Okay, correct. So first up, do I hear a motion for the board to approve the revised board policy manual?
So moved.
Okay.
Was that a second, Jay?
Yep.
Okay, it's been seconded. Shelby, please call the roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes. What was that, all four of us? So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And then we'll move on to the second part of that.
Sorry.
Right, catch
Life's
you dinner.
harder. I'm just.
Trying to catch dinner.
Sorry.
Wait, we have an insect problem with the cross house.
Yeah, I think so. He's got the fly swatter out, so.
Now you can determine. So the second part of that, do I hear a motion for the board to approve resolution 23-09, a joint resolution of the board of directors and local public contract review board?
You're muted, Jay.
Yeah, so moved.
I'll second. So it's been moved and seconded. Shelby, please call the roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes. Oh, I thought I was first. Yes, both times. So motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Item B4, request board approval for the purchase of firefighter class D personnel protected, should be personal protective equipment, logistics manager,
Good evening, members of the board. My name, as you know now, is Denise Burkholder. I'm the logistics manager. My report is as submitted. If you have any questions, I'm open to.
Okay, everyone received the staff report. Does any board member have any questions or comments to share?
Is this kind of getting us caught up? Because it sounds like we're a little behind.
Yes, sir.
How many years of catch up do we have to play?
About 16.
So she's not in charge of good news for them.
Okay, any further questions or comments? So do I hear a motion for the board to approve the purchase of firefighter class D personal protective equipment through C Western Incorporated in the amount of $184,000?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Shelby, please call the roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yeah, Jay and Jim sound so familiar.
sorry, Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes. So thank you. Approved unanimously. And moving on.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you. Item B5, request board approval for the purchase of 2 fire engines, Pierce Type 1 pumpers. Support Services Officer Bill Bischoff.
You good here?
Oh, there you are.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. And again, playing some catch up, but my report is as submitted and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So everyone received Bill's staff report. Any questions or comments?
Yeah,
Chris?
So our capital replacement plan, where does this put us? Because we're already behind, so I guess my question is, how come we're not buying 3?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking that, because the original plan was to do 3 or 4. As you see, the cost of these apparatus have gone up dramatically in the last few years, and we've been deferring the last several years because of some budgetary constraints, but as we're kind of looking at the fleet, you know, we can keep them running for as long as we need to keep them running for the most part, but I'm really scrutinizing some others that we haven't talked much about that we're discussing for. And so that's something that is probably gonna come to the table here a little bit later, that we feel comfortable doing 2 right now. And if we decide to not do the refurbs a little bit later, we'll visit new, but we have some apparatus that actually have fewer hours on them than the last round of purchase numbers. That I feel that's a good option for the fire district, and it's a little more fiscally responsible.
Hey, Bill, I have a question.
Does that
How-
mostly answer your question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill, you know me, I just know that we bought 16 all at one time, and sometime between hither and yonder, we gotta replace them all, so I just don't wanna wait till yonder.
Yeah, understood.
That's why it's the strategy of 2 new and 2 refurbed.
I like that.
It's a good strategy.
Jay, go ahead.
Well, my question is, from the time you order them to the time we receive them, how long is that?
Unfortunately, right now, we're looking at 3.5 years.
That's what I thought. I was thinking it was 3 years, but okay. Thank you for that.
That could very well change. But if the order was placed today, it's about 3.5 years.
Right. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too, because in your staff report, it says delivery year April 2027.
Yeah.
I thought, holy smokes.
So that is gonna leave us with some that are well past.
It's like
What they
Chris'
should
point, you gotta think 3 or 4 years ahead of time, if the order's going.
And now, do these new models come with a board feature where the board of director guys can drive them?
Absolutely.
Because I would think there should be hurting.
I did hear him. Andrew Gordian, the shop steward, he's got the key to that question, so.
Well, you know, you could probably also, if you needed to, there's probably an old KME you could borrow from Gresham.
Do you mean on the road?
He was silly enough to turn me loose on the road. Training center would be dangerous enough. Still wondering what the hot lap record is.
Alrighty, any other questions or comments? If none, do I hear a motion for the board to approve the purchase of 2 fire engines, Pierce Type 1 pumpers through Hughes Fire in the amount not to exceed $2 million?
So moved.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Shelby, please call the roll.
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
We'll spend some money.
Alrighty, moving on, other business. OB1 board committee and liaison reports. We have down, Civil Service Commission, update from Director Haas.
Yeah, we had a meeting, last Wednesday, and they approved the new captain's list. And also had a good discussion and approved the new approach to the firefighter recruitment, training, hiring process that I'm really excited about. I think we saw the proof of it in that apprentice class, that spark hire or whatever you guys call it, that opens the net. And that class, I think I talked to everyone with their graduation, and they are all outstanding individuals. If we can keep doing that through this process, we're gonna be in great shape. So, I think that was about it from civil service. That was kind of a big one. They had quite a discussion because it's a sea change.
Yeah, it is. I have Brooks operator as well.
Yes. So, good meeting and great time was had by all.
Very good. Foundation liaison, Director Cross.
Yeah, obviously the topic of the day is the auction that's coming up on the 4th of November. The last meeting we had, basically, the numbers are pretty lean. People haven't been signing up for the auction in the numbers that they were expecting. Don Trotter, as most of the people in the room probably know, he's been calling around, making sure, trying to get people to buy a table or buy a seat at the auction. So if you're going to come, please go to the website or get a hold of Don. That would be great. Or you can get a hold of me and I can vector you in. Just also as an FYI, that's the Saturday, the 4th of November. I'm actually going to be leaving for the OFDDA conference on the 1st over in Seaside. So I will actually be driving straight from Seaside at the conference straight to the benefit auction on Saturday evening. So, that's kind of that. So I have another update too, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so Thomas and I actually met with Rick Huffman a few days ago, and that's where I think Thomas gave me COVID. But we had a great conversation. We had a great meeting, and we talked about some of the things coming up in the next several months at the district. And I don't want to take any thunder from Chief Huffman, but we kind of asked Chief Huffman to come in and give us a little 1-2 on what's going on. And so I don't know what your agenda is or Chief Brown's agenda is, but it's sure like
he's on the agenda, Jay.
Yeah. Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway, we had a great meeting with that too as well. So.
Okay, thanks. Any other committee or liaison updates that we missed that anyone has? Very good. OB2 board informational updates, comments. Does any board member have any informational updates, comments to share regarding any other topic or anything that you'd like to say? I have one, but Director Haas, go ahead.
I attended the open house at Station 17 last Saturday and the one at Station 6 the Saturday before. And the staff does a great job. We had a good turnout, both of them. Isaac and the team, they're there on a Saturday. and they're smiling the whole time, and they're making a bunch of little kids smile. And it was great. So, good job, everybody.
We had a good turnout on 6, at Station 6. What was the turnout at 17s? Was it equal to 6s, or was it?
So Station 17, we thought probably about 75
Okay,
showed up,
cool,
which was maybe 50 more than we had expected.
awesome,
Yeah.
good.
Very good. I have one item I thought it was worth mentioning. I got my voters pamphlet in the mail for the November 7th election. We heard the update from the school district staff. And I forgot also on the November 7th election is the city of Gladstone's measure 3-601, the renewal of the current operating levy for fire and medical services. I thought that was worth mentioning. We hadn't had an interagency committee meeting with them for a month or two, so we wish our colleagues in Gladstone success with their levy and hope that it goes well for them. So I thought that was worth updating. Anything you'd like to say?
For anyone, just a
regarding that?
small, high level, just real quick, on that for Gladstone.
Yeah, certainly, yeah, I believe this might be the fourth time they're going out for the levy, it's a renewal.
Mhm, yeah.
So there's no tax increase, yeah, the levy is, again, Gladstone specific, it doesn't affect our contract. Their ability to afford what they're affording today may need to be revisited if it does not pass. But the levy is only for Gladstone voters, it doesn't affect our voters' rates or anything.
Okay, anything else? Alrighty, moving on. Division, department reports. Now, Chief, you said
Rick Huffman, yeah.
you didn't have an R1, so you don't have any.
Yeah, we'll go straight to
So we're
Rick.
moving right to R1F. Chief Huffman.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. I just wanted to hear you speak.
President Serene, good evening, members of the board. As Director Cross mentioned, we had a really positive meeting last week. I guess I shouldn't use positive, huh? Sorry about that. But in all honesty, we just reviewed a couple things that have been going on in the EMS. Outside of a big planning retreat that we had that was well attended by all the division heads. One of the biggest projects coming up before the end of the year is the ARPA funding we awarded from the county. What happened was back in 2022, community paramedic Amy Jo Cook submitted a proposal to the county for FEMA ARPA funding for 3 community paramedics for a 3-year term. So a year and a half later, they awarded the remaining ARPA award, and we received just over $1 million, about $1,002,000 and change. And so what that did is, in reality, we were reduced by about a third in the funding request, and we're short about a year also. So we got about $1 million to do a 2-year project. We kind of pivoted on actually delivering more service, but more importantly, evaluating that service over 2 years to see how we can do it, see what the impact is in the future, and see what the funding resources are and the effectiveness of this program. And basically what the program is the number one goal is to keep our rigs in service for critical emergencies. By doing that, we're looking at low acuity calls, diversion from 911 services, and getting people the right care at the right time at the right place. And that could mean somebody meeting up with a behavioral health specialist or a polysubstance abuse specialist, and our people would be the bridge between the county and the healthcare system on how to get people to the right place before they need to call 911. And so, you know, sometimes we talk about sending the right rig to the right call, but we want the call to be sent to the right people before it gets to us. And this is a very popular program, and ironically, I was on LinkedIn the other night, and the same exact program is posted in England because they have the same issues. And somebody jumped in from Australia, and it's a worldwide issue that we are part of the healthcare system now. And it definitely is impacting our ability to be prepared and to respond to critical emergencies. So this program is going to be very timely, and Amy Jo Cook really probably didn't know that the level it was going to be implemented, but This is a great opportunity. So this is really just kind of a heads up. We probably won't have this going for another month till we get all the funding stream and done with the county. But when we do actually launch, I'll give you a full report on it. And I'm willing to answer any questions, or Director Cross, if you have any comments, I can back those up.
Well, basically the comment for the rest of the folks on the board, and I guess the command staff is, ever since you guys have been on the board, this is one of the things that I've been dreaming of, asking for, pushing for, sometimes pounding on the table for. And the meeting that we had the other day with Chief Huffman was like, man, you ticked most of the boxes in one meeting. And so I was so thrilled with what I was hearing from Chief Huffman. I asked him to come tonight just because this is definitely something that I think is needed in our organization. And I think it's all positive. It's all good. It's just great news. And it's definitely something I'm excited about. And I'm looking forward to see how Chief Huffman evolves this moving forward.
In summary, basically, we'll be getting an additional community medic and a couple of community EMTs, putting them in 2 rigs and having them available to take care of patients, help out on low acuity calls, and follow up on preventative and public education on how to use 911.
Good. Excellent. Good work. Progress.
So far, yeah.
Alrighty, any other questions, comments? Thank you. R1F, the professional firefighters of Plaquemines, Local 1159, shop steward Andrew Gordian.
The guy with keys to the fire.
It's all yours. It's up to me, it's all yours.
Good strategy.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I just have a couple quick updates. We signed an MOU with the fire district to, like we talked about, the Civil Service Commission to reduce the requirement for years with the district to apply for an apparatus operator. That was a collaboration between us and Ops Chief Muelich, which went well. See, there's some little bit of changes as far as our structure goes, more to be on that, more to come on that. But I was nominated to be the vice president number 2 with Local 1159. My plan is to continue being the one providing the board updates and continue doing any interfacing with board members for Local 1159. So that's my plan moving forward. There's some other changes that I'll fill you in on after elections in November. And then that's pretty much all I had, unless you guys have any questions.
Great job as a shop steward.
Thank you.
I know going up to this next level as a VP is great for the local, but as far as this shop, there was a lot of adversity over the last few years that this organization faced, and strong work leading through it. That the future funding task force was huge, and it's going to continue to be huge moving forward. But your piece in that was huge. So just appreciate your effort and thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Yeah, I plan to continue to be involved, and one of my primary responsibilities will be Clackamas. So
perfect.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Andrew.
Oh, you're not getting away from Thomas.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Yes, Thomas.
I am very proud of you. I know you will succeed, there's no doubt. But you were willing to step into a role that has never been done before in the district, and starting with the task force and coming to the meetings every month. And during the Jay's presidency, we started this, and I think it has given us good result of understanding and a good working relationship with the 1159. I thank you for your initiative and your willingness to step out of comfort zone.
Thank you, Thomas, and I appreciate your role in that as well.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Next, the volunteer division and volunteer association report. Volunteer coordinator Ryan Cordero. First up.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. A little bit on the activity. We had Station 12 covered 21 out of 30 nights in September. Station 74 out in Dover, 20 out of 30. Rehab 302, 6 nights out of 30, and Rehab 321, 4 out of 30, which doesn't reflect that we didn't miss any responses. So I needed to find a better way to report that. So I'm working on that. Training's been kind of fun. This last month, we did some motor vehicle extrication, had heavy rescue 305 and the squad come down and help us cut some cars apart. We did some fire attack and search fundamentals in preparation for the next 2 weeks away. We did EMS, then we did fire attack and search evolutions with career companies. Engine 322 came down, Lieutenant Gasperson, and then who was it? I think the heavy came down again and did evolutions with us at full pace, where the volunteers sat in the back seat as the firefighters and ran as firefighters. And I thought it was a great drill. I got great feedback, gave us a great opportunity to evaluate where we were volunteers. And what we realized was we have the fundamentals, we just don't get the touches as much. So we're just working on figuring out how to do that more effectively. Several volunteers had an opportunity to participate in the ethos workshop, which was positively received by all of them. I think that's one of the ways that I came into the organization. I participated in one of those Oregon City kind of summits when we were up at one of those centers up there when I was a first volunteer, and it just solidified my commitment to the organization. So I thought that was great that they were included. And then I do want to note a couple things. We had Andrew Seidlinger and Mike Heredia, who were in my last academy that graduated in June, left for jobs at Portland. And then Michael Morden left for Western Lane. He's a volunteer that came over in the initial transition from Estacada, but stayed here and was our past president. And then we had Stephen Emerson and Tyler Mandeville, who left for Ocean Fire. Those agencies are lucky. We lost some good ones, but maybe we'll hire them back in this next process. If there's any questions, I'll take them at this time. Yes.
You mentioned, and I saw in the report, 7-4 Dover was staffed 20 out of 30 nights, and I was gonna ask Chief Snyder, has it ever been staffed that many nights before?
Yes, sir. No, it's definitely picked up.
And then out of that, those 20 nights, were they able to, did they have the opportunity to respond to any significant calls? Were they
Yeah, I
pushed in?
think
Were they,
I gave that report to the Furwood Neighborhood Association, or the CPO out there, and I should have pulled that for you as well. But I think it was like 12 to 15 calls, 8 of those being EMS, a couple car wrecks, and then a couple miscellaneous fire out there. So they're not, that is a busy area. You get out in the country, and if there's a call, it's usually
Call for service.
Yeah, it's a legitimate call for service where people need help, and our guys have done a great job. I mean, they're representing the district well, and that station's running like a well-oiled machine. So, yeah.
Good, so they're making a difference. Excellent.
They are.
Yeah. I would just say, Ryan, I was at Scooters one night last week having a drink with a friend of mine, and I listened to a conversation at a table, and it was one of the fires. And the guy had said, he was telling his friend, he called when this happened, his buddy said, my God, how long did you have to wait for a fire engine? This guy said, well, at Dover Station, they were here like 5 or 6 minutes later. They're noticing.
That's good. That's
They're
good.
noticing.
I'll pass that along to the volunteers.
Yeah, good work. Excellent. Okay, volunteer president Jerry Carney.
I hope you will excuse me not going to the podium. I had a nice fall this morning that pulled quite a few muscles. Yeah,
We can hear you
that's
just fine.
exactly how I felt.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
As I told you, last month, we were going to have elections, for, 3 positions. 2 of us, remain. Jack Tanz is, Sergeant at Arms, and, I was interim president and then reelected recently as president. In addition to that change, Kenton Johnson became vice president. And I don't know another way to say this, two fellows who I have absolutely no idea where they came from or who they are, were willing to step up and say, hey, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And I don't want to limit it to just those two. It was, I think 4 people said, yeah, we'll run, which was a pleasant change. We have not had that in recent years. And my good friend over here, I was fortunate enough to win by 1 vote over him, but thank you for stepping up. I really mean that. The fellow by the name of Hamilton, fellow name I think is Pettis is the pronunciation, stepped into vice president and treasurer and secretary. I know all this is just housekeeping stuff, but I want you board members to know 2 things. 1, we're accepting them. We're welcoming them. 2, they're saying, hey, we're here and we're willing. And this has happened both with Gladstone and with Sandy, and it's appreciated from my standpoint and from the other volunteers. So it's the end of my report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Alrighty, moving on, any questions or comments regarding any of the correspondence items that were in the packet?
I think there's a couple that ought to be for sure. There's a thank you note to our crews from, I think, people on the Whiskey Creek Fire. And this letter from Scouters Mountain Elementary about Tammy Owen and Kara Shanklin is just absolutely amazing. And I know they're both like that. They're both impressive. I watch them at these open houses and stuff. They smile all the time. The kids think they're wonderful. They're out teaching hands-only CPR, and the kids are looking forward to them every year coming. It's a special day for them. Great job.
Wow. Thanks, Chris. Any questions or comments regarding any of the informational items in the board packet? Hearing none, it's noted that there will be no executive session tonight. So anything else that we missed? Anyone have anything to say, comments, questions? If not, our next meeting, the next Board of Directors meeting will be November 20th at 5 p.m. The meeting will be hybrid with the public invited to attend either by remote video conferencing or in person here at Station 5 on Causey Avenue. With that, the regular Board of Directors meeting is now recessed at 6:18 p.m. If you are attending in person, please make your way to the lobby. Oh, no, never mind, because we're not having an executive session. So make your way. We're good. Here, and we are good.
We're adjourned, Jim. Jim, we're adjourned. We are adjourned.
Meeting is adjourned.
Quit reading your script.
Yeah, think, Jim.